is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 4th day of July in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. A meeting between the president and the opposition leader was described as fruitful today, as the two sides started the process for the appointment of a new chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission. The two were accompanied by other representatives of the government and the opposition at the Ministry of the Presidency this afternoon. They have agreed to have a meeting between a smaller grouping to come up with the names that should be nominated for the GCOM chairman position. President David Granger and Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joe Harmon, briefed the media just after the meeting today.
Our discussions, which lasted just about an hour, were clearly focused on the means, not the nomination, the means to be adopted for the nomination and appointment of the Chairman of the Election Commission. We feel that unless and until the Chairman is appointed, the work of the Commission will not be able to move ahead as quickly as possible. Earlier in the year, as you know, we made it clear that we were interested in credible elections, but we at the same time wanted to make sure that we operated on the basis of advice by the chairman of the commission itself.
And the opposition leader Barra Jagdeo told the media that he is still not averse to the president suggesting nominees for the list. He, however, noted that he will first look at the 18 nominees previously submitted, and some of the same previously rejected persons might be resubmitted.
We agreed that we will, both sides with smaller groups will get together to try to hammer out the names, because I will submit names, and the president, as I said in my letter, he could initiate names. We are not averse to him suggesting names too, but the constitutional responsibility to submit the 6 names are those, or is that of the leader of the opposition. And so the CCJ ruling did not change the constitution, and the constitution of Guyana says 6 names must originate from the leader of the opposition, and they must done only through consultation with the non-governmental political parties in parliament. That's what the constitution says. We are prepared to consider names if the president were to suggest those names in an informal process that hopefully would start with a smaller team over the next couple of days. Thirdly, I suggested that I will start with a resubmission of the 18 names appropriately adjusted for people who may not want to have their names resubmitted. So we'll use those names as a starting point to go back through each name to see if we can come up with 6 names from that list. Should we not agree on all 6 names coming from those 18, then we will be supplying additional names. And of course, the president is free to suggest names too, but at the end of the day, we'll have to make a determination that they are acceptable to us.
Mr. Jagdeo said the meeting did not address any of the other major issues, but the two sides are also looking at their concerns about the voters list. The government maintains that it believes house-to-house registration should be conducted before the elections, while the opposition believes the old voters list should be used. The two sides have indicated that they intend to wrap up the issue with regards to the GCOM chairman within a matter of days. More news coming up in just a moment.
Opt into GTT's Do More plan this summer and receive double the credit on your first monthly top-up of $1,000 or more. Double it up, Guyana! Get 2 times your data when you opt into the Do More plan. Yes! Double the credit and double the data means double the fun. Get a chance to win daily cash prizes and much more, plus a chance to win the grand prize of $100,000 in cash. What are you waiting for? Opt in today for a chance to win big and do more this summer.
Summer is just around the corner, and this year we're giving you a Visacation. It's easy. Get your GBTI Visa card and travel to your dream summer destinations, or shop all you want online. With Visacation, you get to win prizes when you use your GBTI Visa card between June 1st and August 31st. Don't have a Visa card? Visit your nearest GBTI branch or go to www.gbtibank.com. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Motor gasoline grades are determined by the octane rating of the fuel. The octane rating of a fuel is the standard measure of the performance of a motor gasoline. Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline is a high-octane premium gasoline. Fuel up and drive with Super 95 from Guy Oil.
Welcome back, and still in the world of politics, the cabinet has been meeting since the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice, and the Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joe Harmon, today said the cabinet is awaiting clarity from the Caribbean Court of Justice. 2 weeks ago, the CCJ ruled that a no-confidence motion against the government was valid. Mr. Harmon said he has seen nothing in the ruling that prevents the cabinet from meeting. The CCJ is still to hand down specific consequential orders as a result of its ruling. Those orders are expected to be made on the 12th of July and are expected to address the issue of whether the cabinet should remain in place. Today, Mr. Harmon said that it is a clarity that the government is waiting on.
As it stands right now, we have seen nothing that says that the cabinet should not meet.
On the matters of the bills that you presented, is it that the parliamentary session is being planned for sometime soon?
Well, we expect Parliament to meet. We expect the Parliament has not been prorogued or anything like that. So we expect that with the correct amount of work to be done in the National Assembly, that the National Assembly will be called to conduct its business in a normal way.
How soon is one being planned? That's the question.
Well, I can't say that to you. I can't tell you if one is being planned. But certainly once there's a certain number of bills and matters to be dealt with in the National Assembly, they will indicate, based on the program of the National Assembly, the committee that deals with the meeting of the National Assembly, I think it's called, there's a special committee in the National Assembly that deals with these things, and they will say when there's going to be a sitting.
In submissions to the Caribbean Court of Justice, the Attorney General is asking the court to allow the cabinet to remain in place in its consequential orders. The Attorney General has pointed to the need for the cabinet to be in place to address issues of national security and territorial security. However, the attorney for the opposition leader is indicating that the president and the cabinet should resign in keeping with the constitutional requirements on the passage of a no-confidence motion. While the Constitution states that the President and Cabinet should resign once a no-confidence motion is passed, it also states that notwithstanding its defeat, the government shall remain in office and hold elections. While opposition leader Barra Jagdeo today tore into African rights activist and the executive of the African Cultural Development Association, Eric Phillips. At his weekly press conference, Mr. Jagdeo, who has fired off at Phillips over his lease of state lands, stated that he has been doing more for the Afro-Guyanese community than Phillips ever will.
So suddenly it become a race issue because he's fighting for Afro-Guyanese. What fight does Eric Phillips carry for Afro-Guyanese? What fight? Just public statements? I've gone to more Afro-Guyanese communities and met more ordinary Afro-Guyanese and helped more Afro-Guyanese than Eric Phillips will ever in his whole life. In his whole life. If you send him on the ground, people hardly know who he is. You send him on the ground. They got 168 million to celebrate the year of people of African descent, the decade, people of African descent. You find out how much of that money went to ordinary Afro-Guyanese. When people the vendors face trouble with this government, does he represent them? The Afro-Guyanese vendors.
Mr. Phillips, who also works with the State Assets Recovery Agency and is an economist, has accused the opposition leader of attacking prominent Afro-Guyanese over the ownership of land leases, many of which were approved under Jagdeo's government but were only granted under the current government. Phillips has stated that his lease of state lands followed the law and he paid all of the required fees. He said Mr. Jagdeo appears to be attacking him because of him being involved in the investigation of several persons linked to the former government. But today, Mr. Jagdeo said Phillips should be focusing more on doing more for the Afro-Guyanese community. The opposition leader has denied that his decision to highlight some of the land leases by the Lands and Surveys Commission was based on race. He has been accused of using the race card since all of the persons he highlighted are Afro-Guyanese, who he believes are connected to the government, while the Lands and Surveys Commission has stated that it has issued over 1,500 leases in just the past few years. And late this afternoon, police investigators moved into the East Coast community of Better Hope to probe the shooting death of a money changer and his daughter. Dead are Aaron Latchman and his 19-year-old daughter, Ariana Latchman. According to a police statement, the father and daughter arrived at their Better Hope home around 3 o'clock this afternoon, and as they exited their motorcar, they were confronted by two armed men. The money changer reportedly attempted to fight off the armed robbers, and the two men opened fire on them, shooting them multiple times to the body before escaping. The father and daughter were rushed to the Georgetown Hospital, where they died as doctors battled to save their lives. The matter is on the probe this evening. Turning now to the courts, a 39-year-old Haitian national, Pierre Baptiste, was today fined $60,000 after admitting in court that he overstayed his time in Guyana. Baptiste appeared before the chief magistrate and chose not to waste the court's time. He admitted that he failed to comply with the conditions of his admission to Guyana by the Immigration Department by overstaying his time by several months. He was expected to depart Guyana last December, but remained in the country without seeking an extension in his stay. He was arrested at the Trinidad airport while soliciting passengers for a taxi. The court ordered that he pays the fine and exits the country at the earliest possible time or face deportation. And still in the courts, Magistrate Shirley Isaacs Marcus this afternoon committed a 49-year-old man to stand trial in the High Court for the alleged rape of a 6-year-old girl. The magistrate ruled that a strong enough case had been made out against the man, Sean Bacchus, for him to face a judge and jury. Bacchus is accused of raping the young child back in July of last year. The child was reportedly left in his care by a relative when he committed the act. He will remain behind bars until the outcome of the case in the High Court. Across the region is coming up next.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane and East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013, with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000-barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
What would you do with 20 gigs of data? Get double the data this summer with GTT. On your first activation of a 7-day data plan or more, you get double the data. Yup, double the data. Activate and enjoy. Opt into a Do More plan this summer and receive double the data. Get a chance to win daily cash prizes and much more, plus a chance to win the grand prize of $100,000 in cash. Only with GTT, there's so much more data to love. Do more this summer.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Across the region right now, the Assistant Police Commissioner in Grenada has dismissed reports of an influx of Venezuelan refugees. The law enforcement official in a press statement earlier this week said this is in spite of an announcement from the U.S. that its naval hospital ship, the Comfort, will be offering its services to the island during a 5-month humanitarian mission that will take it to countries overwhelmed by Venezuelan refugees. The ship began its journey last month, and during its deployment, it will make stops in Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Grenada, Haiti, Jamaica, Panama, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Trinidad and Tobago. It is scheduled to be in Grenada in September. The top law enforcement official said there is no influx of Venezuelans in Grenada. In Trinidad and Tobago, an opposition member of parliament, Dr. Rudal Munilal, has been muzzled until he apologizes to the parliament. The House of Representatives yesterday approved a motion from the government leader in the House that the member be not heard until he apologizes, in accordance with the decision of the House last Wednesday to adopt the Privileges Committee report, which recommended that he apologize for his statements made to a government MP about being a snake. Immediately after the Speaker announced that the motion was carried, the opposition MP defiantly placed a strip of tape over his mouth. Both government MPs and the Speaker paid him no attention. Shortly thereafter, he left the chamber, accompanied by some of his constituents who had been sitting in the public gallery. The action of the House means that Munilal is virtually invisible in the Parliament. He cannot speak, he cannot vote, he cannot ask questions, and he can do nothing for which the Speaker has to recognize him. And finally tonight, international news. Iran has summoned the British ambassador in Tehran to complain about what it says was the illegal seizure of an Iranian oil tanker. British Royal Marines helped the authorities in Gibraltar seize the ship because of evidence it was heading to Syria in breach of EU sanctions. Spain's acting foreign minister said the seizure of the ship Grace 1 was at the U.S. request. An Iranian foreign ministry spokesman called the actions a form of piracy. Gibraltar port and law enforcement agencies detained the supertanker and its cargo on Thursday morning with the help of the Marines. The BBC has been told that a team of about 30 Marines from 42 Commando were flown from the UK to Gibraltar to help at the request of the Gibraltar government. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.